A very good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome back to history class. In the previous class, we have discussed about the decline of the Mughal Empire as well as the decline of the Marathas also. As a result of this Mughal Empire, who had ruled around 300 years under almost one big dynasty under one ruler, which became as Indian subcontinent became as under one ruler. At the end of these Mughals started to decline and smaller rulers became as rose into independent states, and finally our Indian subcontinent became as a small fragmented into small pieces. So as a result, it gave the opportunity or one advantage to the British to rule our India very easily. First, they had arrived, as you have learnt in the previous class in 7th standard, they had arrived for the trading purpose, and later on with the Battle of Plassey, which was held in 1757, they settled down permanently and started administration also. They took into their hands our Indian administration also. First, they had arrived for the trading purpose to get raw material from our India as well as to sell their finished goods for the market. Only these causes, with these intention, they had arrived to get raw material and as well as to sell their finished goods in our India. European countries had arrived. Firstly, as it is suggested in the reduced syllabus this year, we need not to discuss much more about the trade wars which were held, but I will give you a small glance about the concept. Trade wars which were held between the European countries in our India. Firstly, the Portuguese had arrived and followed by the Dutch. Of course, the French and the British both had arrived almost at the same time to our India for the trading purpose. Once again, I repeat, as a result of industrial revolution and discovering new sea routes, because of all these reasons, these European countries had spread to many parts of the other continents and they set their colonies in that particular countries, and they started trading and slowly they started continued administration also. In that course, in due course, even in our India also was not exceptional by these European countries. As I have mentioned, first the Portuguese had arrived, followed by the Dutch, and the French and the British both had, the France and the England people had arrived simultaneously, almost the same time, but finally the British had permanently settled down and ruled around 200 years our India. Then how did they expand their rule in India? Let us discuss in this lesson. As I have mentioned, the trade wars is not much more important given in the reduced syllabus. Directly we can move on to the advent of English East India Company. How English East India Company arrived India and how it settled down, we will discuss. Before that, I would like to give you a small introduction about the French also. In India, the early French settlements included Pondicherry, Chandranagar, Mahe and Karaikal. In these four places, firstly the French had arrived and settled down and kept their settlements. In 1668, the first French factory was established at Surat. In the middle of the 18th century, when Dupleix was appointed governor, his ambition to establishing a French empire in India brought him in the direct conflict with the British. First, as just like the British, these French also thought that first they settled their trading companies in Pondicherry, Chandranagar, Mahe and Karaikal. In these places, first they had settled kept the settlements of trading centers. But slowly the governor, at that time the governor of the French, Dupleix, appointed as the governor, his ambition became as establishing a French empire in India. He wanted to rule India, and he had at the same time, with the same intention, even the British was trying to establish empire in India. So these both got a conflict. They had a conflict between the French and the British. This led to the Anglo-French wars in India. So I would have to explain this Anglo-French wars also. As I have told, what was the main cause for the Anglo-French wars in India? the intention of establishing French Empire by the Dupleix, the governor of the French. At the same time, even the British also had the same intention. They wanted to establish their empire in India. So because of this reason, both had met with, means here there was a rivalry between. Rivalry means here fighting for the same object or same thing. Fighting for the same thing. There was a conflict between these two, and finally it led to the Anglo-French wars. Now, how the British arrived and where they kept their settlements, they settled down, and finally what was their intention turned into, I have explained. Now the British, the English East India Company was formed in 1600s as a joint stock company by the group of merchants. By a group of merchants, English East India Company also by the British. English East India Company had arrived and formed in 1600 in India with a group of merchants. A charter from Queen Elizabeth granted them the right to carry out trade with the East. East means in the Eastern Hemisphere, wherever the British had established their companies in the East, all these have all the rights to continue their trade. Then such kind of permission was given by Queen Elizabeth in Eastern Hemisphere. All the East Indian companies, wherever the British had established their East India Company, in the East, wherever they had established their companies, they can continue the trade. Okay. The English set up their first factory at Surat in 1612. In the due course, these British they had established their company at Surat first. They had set up their factory at Surat in India also by getting permission from the Queen Elizabeth. Sir Thomas Roe visited the court of Jahangir. This already we studied in 7th standard. I hope you remember. Sir Thomas Roe and John Hawkins, right? He visited Jahangir and obtained trade concessions for the company. He documented his efforts in a journal published under the title Journal of the Mission to the Mughal Empire. Although the Mughals granted them trading rights, they were not allowed to arm or fortify their factories. So throughout the 17th century, the might of the Mughal Empire made the English rely on the goodwill of the emperors rather than on conquest. So in the 17th century, they were just concentrating with having good wills with the Mughal emperors to continue their trade only rather than conquesting our Indian rulers. These English merchants only having the goodwill of continuing the trade only with the Mughal rulers. In the 17th century, it was like that. But later, the English also established trading centers at Madras. They continued. First, they set up their factory at Surat, and later on, these English had established their trading centers at Madras, Bombay and Kolkata. They established business concessions with Jagat Seth, who was the banker of the Nawab of Bengal. Many Indian merchants flocked to them, and the English trading factories became the centers from which the company's authority would later expand into the interiors of the Indian subcontinent. Firstly, they set up at Surat, and slowly they expanded and set up their companies at Bombay, Madras, that is present Chennai, and Kolkata. And many parts of the Indian subcontinent, they spread their business with the help of our Indian merchants. Indian merchants also joined with them, and they continued their trade in all the parts of Indian subcontinent. Then in this way, the English trade yielded enormous profits, and the company became very rich. Slowly, the English company, East India Company, became very rich. The temptation grew for the English East India Company to gain superiority over the rival companies by the political conquests. So now their concentration, now their first ambition was fulfilled. What was that? They started to get more and more profits. They became more and more rich, the English East India Company, which was established by the British. Okay, now their target had been changed. Their goal had changed. At that time, the other European countries which have established in our India, they started to rivalry against to that other European countries. Who were the other European countries? Obviously only the French. Under the governor of the Dupleix, the French also had the intention to establish empire. So they targeted against this French. Among the various European companies, the French East India Company became a major rival to the British expansion. After 1757, this 1757 is a historical event in Indian history, my dear. 1757, the Battle of Plassey was held between Robert Clive, the British, and the governor of the British, and our Indian ruler Siraj ud Dowlah. The great battle, Siraj ud Dowlah and Robert Clive, between these two people, the historical Indian event was held. After this major incident, English East India Company was politically active, wherein they were required to take care of the administration, because Robert Clive defeated Siraj ud Dowlah in the Battle of Plassey in 1757, and politically also they permanently settled down politically also. Only till then they were only doing the trade and gaining more and more profits. And now their concentration to throw away all the other European companies which were there at that time, especially the French East India Company, they wanted to throw away and permanently settle down in India after 1757. But unfortunately, one small mistake was happened. They failed in doing so. Instead of looking after administration, the company officials used their power to make gains from personal trade. You please listen here. Now, English East India Company officials only started corruption among themselves, and they wanted to get the profits, whatever they were gaining in the trade, they were taking those profits as personal trade. Those profits they were putting into personal, pushing the company towards bankruptcy. Here bankruptcy means making the company empty. The treasury, the company's treasury became as empty, because rather than showing the accounts which were gaining, these East India Company officials putting those profits into their personal, and finally company's account showed as bankruptcy, emptied. Bankruptcy means it became as empty. This condition forced the company to ask for loans from the British government. Now there was no option. Whatever they have looted from our India, whatever they had looted, instead of showing the accounts, putting the account into the company's account, these East India Company officials made into their personal profit. Now company had started to ask loan from the British government. Then British government has shocked at once. What is happening? There were more and more profits they were gaining, but why did the company became as bankruptcy? So this gave an opportunity to the British government to manage company affairs. From there they started to look after the company affairs. What is happening? We trusted officials, our East India Company officials only doing something corruption. So they started to take care from the British government, from Britain. Gradually the East India Company, which was a trading organization, was taken over by the government of the British Crown. Now British Crown from Britain, they started to rule, take care of all the affairs and all the business matters. They started to take care rather than trusting the East India Company officials. Now obviously it started from everything started, even ruling also started from the British Crown, because administration also now they became under the British, right? Administration, trading, everything started ruling from the Britain. So our India started to be ruled by the Britain Parliament. Everything, whatever decisions to be made related to our India, everything used to be taken. The decisions used to be taken by the British Crown. This happened after the revolt of 1857 through the Government of India Act 1858. That we will discuss in the next lessons more detailedly. Completely it started to rule, administer from the British Crown, from which was some miles away from our India. India was ruled by the place which was thousands of miles away from our India. My dear students, as I have mentioned in the beginning, according to the reduced syllabus, actually this is not required to you, but I am giving the introduction about today entire video, only introductory part. You need not to prepare anything, only except this Anglo-French rivalry which is provided at present slide in front of you. Only that you will have to know. But the part which I had explained earlier, that is also has the connectivity. Without knowing that concept, you cannot move further. So that I had given you the introduction. Now you can start for the examination purpose. From here you can start. As I have told that there were only finally 2 East India companies permanently settled, and among us between these two also there was rivalry, fighting for the same thing. Whatever raw material, whatever market, everything administration to bring into one hand. There was a fight between this and the British and the French. Okay, so as a result 3 wars were held between the British and the French. We will discuss Anglo-French rivalry. From here you have to learn for the examination purpose. Then how later on in the next videos, next concept, we will discuss about how did they establish a strong rule in India and how did they expand their rule in our India. That is the main concept. Okay. Now Anglo-French rivalry. In the 18th century, 3 wars were fought between the French and the British for control over the coastal strip of present-day Tamil Nadu, known at that time as Carnatic. Very important concept. In the 18th century, 3 wars were fought. Obviously, here, what was the reason? These both were having the target aim to establish their own complete entire administration and rule in India. So, obviously, there will be a fight, right? So, these both fought to get control over the present-day Tamil Nadu, a small coastal strip in Tamil Nadu, during that time which was known as Carnatic. A coastal strip, a small portion of coastal place in Tamil Nadu. During that time it was known as Carnatic. These wars came to be known as Carnatic Wars because they wanted to gain the Carnatic region, which the region was under the possessions of the Nizam of Hyderabad during that time. Okay, let us discuss the traditional rivalry between French and Britain and their conflicting trade interests in India led to the Carnatic Wars between 1744 and 1763. 3 Carnatic Wars were held. Let us see the first Carnatic War. Here, for what purpose? To gain, they fought for the reason of these wars came to be known as to gain control over the coastal strip, which was known as Carnatic. To gain control over the coastal strip of Tamil Nadu, that time which was known as Carnatic, these 3 wars were held. But behind that, the intention was both having the intention to throw away either of any one of the company and to settle down permanently here and to expand their rule here. Anyhow, let us discuss the first Carnatic War was fought when the French, led by the Governor Dupleix, captured Madras, which was a British position, which was under the, as I have told that the Madras was under the, they have established their trading centers. At first, the British established at Surat and followed by Mumbai, present Chennai or Madras, and Kolkata, right? So here the Madras was under the position of the British, but the French captured under the leadership of Dupleix, Governor Dupleix, captured Madras, which was under the position of the British. However, Madras was restored to the British as part of the peace settlement in Europe following the Austrian War of Succession. But again the Madras was restored, though it had been captured by the French under the leadership of Governor Dupleix. Again it was restored to the British, because in Europe there were wars going on between the French and the British. That time, since French was defeated by the British, wherever British had wherever the French had their colonies had to surrender back to the British. In that course, here what was captured, the Madras which was captured by the French was given back to the British as a result of First Carnatic War. For what purpose? Here mainly you have to focus on what was the reason behind the First Carnatic War, the years, and as well as a result what happened. At the end of the war, what had happened? Only these years, First Carnatic War, reason, and finally the impact. Between 1744 to 1748, it was fought when the French, led by Governor Dupleix, captured Madras. When the French captured Madras, which was a Britain position, but finally it had restored to the British. Next, Second Carnatic War, 1748 to 1754. The Second Carnatic War was fought over the issue of successors to the throne of Hyderabad and Carnatic, with the British and the French supporting opposing candidates. So here also, Second Carnatic War was fought to the issue of successors of the throne. So to capture the throne, the native rulers were fighting amongst themselves to capture the thrones of Hyderabad as well as throne of Carnatic. Amongst themselves, the native rulers, relatives were fighting, and taking this as advantage, the French and the British supported each other, and then they supported and they led the fight. So they allowed the fight. This time the French was defeated and Dupleix was recalled to France. This time French was defeated by the British and Dupleix was called back to France. The Second Carnatic War ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry signed in 1754. Next, Third Carnatic War. See, my dear students, very interestingly, there was no reason at all for the Third Carnatic War, which was held in our India between the French and the British. Interestingly, the Third Carnatic War was fought in 1763. Actually, this war was started. The 7 Years' War in Europe rekindled the Anglo-French hostility in India. Very interestingly, in Europe, 7 Years' War was happening between 1756 to 1763. It was held 7 Years' War. In the regional language, we can say as Saptavarsha Sangram. Sapta, 7, Varsh, years, Sangram, war. Saptavarsha Sangram was going on in Europe in 1756 to 1763. 7 years war, continuous war between the French and the British in Europe. As a result, to support wherever these countries' colonies were there, both were fighting. Wherever they had the colonies, those people also were fighting. Since in their motherland, in their native land, war was going on, as a support, wherever their colonies were there, those were fighting. So, even in our India also, between the French and the British, as an impact of the 7 Years Sangram, 7 Years War in Europe, here also war was fought between the French and the British. The French were defeated at the Battle of Vandivash in 1760. After the end of the war in Europe, the British returned Pondicherry and Chandarnagar to the French. However, except for these pockets, the French power in India was almost negligent. Anyhow, finally, as a result of this war, Pondicherry and Chandarnagar, which were the settlements of the French, were given back to France. But still, except these two, all the settlements have been brought under the control of the British. Only finally the French were left with only two places, Chandarnagar and the Pondicherry. Okay, these are the three Anglo-Carnatic Wars, Anglo-French Wars which were held. First Carnatic War, Second Carnatic War and Third Carnatic War. Please do learn. Only for the examination purpose you learn on this concept. You can start from here, and in the next lesson we will learn about the expansion of the British power in India and their rule.